welcome on the Brickfield. I'm Brickmeat and this is the Karl Gerät with loader. And let's begin directly with the highlight: lowering and raising the whole vehicle. Other manufacturers often use long rows of gears for this kind of function. The problem is that every gear adds a little bit of play. The first wheels may still lift the model, while the last ones stay on the ground. And in the end, the whole thing stands crooked. 12Go uses a different solution to distribute the force much more evenly and lift the entire model properly. But we'll take a closer look at that in a moment. The tracks basically run well, but they do get stuck from time to time, and then the track can jump off. Generally, the build itself was very smooth. The Karl Gerät and the loader each have their own separate instruction book. The build starts with the base plate and the mechanism for raising and lowering the Karl Gerät. The next steps are not very spectacular. They mainly add the lower part of the hull and the road wheels. Now we can get to the function that can lower and raise the entire model, instead of simply lining up a long chain of gears, which cannot apply even force and often leaves the model standing at an angle. 12Go uses the continuous plate with gear racks. These gear racks apply the same force to every gear. Warm gears at the front and rear then transfer the force to the mechanism. You do have to turn both sides at the same time. But in return, you get a solid and stable model, especially after the plate is locked in place from above. Two levers hold the Karl Gerät in position. The tracks are basically not bad, but they do get stuck again and again, and this can make them jump off. The raising mechanism is not the problem here. The problem is the drive wheels, which do not track the guides cleanly enough. So the solution is simple: just drive faster and the tracks stay on. In the next steps, the hull is completed further. Some molded metal parts are also used here, like the exhaust pipes. Visually, they are a nice little highlight. After a few more covers, we get to the handrails. These have to be cut to length with a cutter. Once they are attached around the model, it already looks really good. Then we continue with more covers and an engine, which is more colorful than detailed, but it's still better than having no engine at all. And of course, there's also a matching cover for it. Now we get to the heart of the Karl Gerät, the mortar. For the frame, you do not need a university degree. Even my dog could build it while I take him for a walk. The mortar can be raised and lowered with a simple gear mechanism. The barrel is closed, of course, just as required by the War Weapon Control Act. We do not want to hurt anyone. Now we quickly marry the frame with the mortar, and then we can already load a shell. Well, at least halfway. Because the mortar sits on a sliding carriage, we have to remove one cover again before installing it. And here it is, our big Karl, named Eva. Hopefully it can fire more than just apples. The loader builds more like a normal tank. It starts with a solid base made from plates and tracks. These tracks are also get stuck here and there, but overall they run a little better than the ones on the Karl Gerät. Anyone who has built a few tanks before will not find any unusual building techniques here. The hull is built up and covered with panels. The days of naked tanks are long gone. And of course, there's also a small engine. The next cover includes the mounting point for the crane. For this crane, we have to wind up a string, which is then connected to the movable crane arm. The crane is really easy to position and still very stable. Now we can install the crane and hang a shell held by molded parts onto the hook. And since one shell is a little bit lonely, the last cover adds a magazine with space for 2 more shells. With that, the loader is finished as well and the complete set is done. The set also includes figures, but I cannot show them for trademark reasons. I really do not understand why they do not design their own figures. Kobe, Sluban and others managed to do it too. And there it is, the big monster. Visually, it is really well done. And 12Go does not have to hide when it comes to brick quality either. The model was very enjoyable to build. There were no missing parts, and plenty of spare parts are left over. It is stable enough for play and impressive enough for display. You can also access the interior quite easily again. The only thing it cannot do is shoot, but you cannot have everything. So, what do you think about this monster with 4,700 pieces? Is it worth almost $150? Would you buy it? Write in the comments. See you at the next build on the brick field.